A Mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Welcome back to another episode of Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia, Texas State Representative and author of the book Wealth Warrior. This week on the podcast, we have a very special guest, Harlan Vaughn, who is a travel and finance expert with over a decade of experience covering credit cards and travel rewards content. His work has been featured on Bankrate, Business Insider, CNBC, Forbes Advisor, NerdWallet, and more. Harlan and I have worked together in the past. I used to be a contributor to one of his columns pertaining to the stock market and the economic outlook. I am so excited to introduce him to you all today and have him grace us with his much needed knowledge on the utilization of credit cards. Harlan, I feel like I'm having this special reunion with you.
Very much the same.
We met at, I think, the height of the craze of the stock market and how everyone began to engage in the economy.
That's right.
You were writing, remind me who you were writing for.
At the time, it was Next Advisor in partnership with Time. They were doing quite a bit of stock market reporting and transitioned me to a weekly column. And at that point, I think I reached out to you quite a bit for your brilliant commentary on the market at that time, which was particularly volatile.
Yes. Yeah, it was so much fun getting to contribute to your column. I really miss, I have to say, talking to you on a weekly basis and just catching up on the economy and all of its drama. But I want to dive a little deeper on what got you into this space. I have had you as a guest on our Patreon to talk about your expertise in understanding how to utilize credit cards. How did you get into that?
Excellent question. This flashes me back to 2013. I was working at a nonprofit organization in New York City. There was a Chase Bank on the corner, and the Chase Sapphire Preferred had just come out, and it had revolutionized the credit card industry with the points, the ultimate rewards. It was really hard to miss. It was kind of everywhere. I started diving into it. I was like, what are these points? And it was my first big boy job. I had just gotten my first job with a salary, and I was really committed to cleaning up my credit. I was deeply in debt. I had defaulted student loans. My credit was very poor, but I knew I wanted these points. So I used the idea of this card to clean up my credit. I called all of my creditors. I confessed everything to them. I got on a payment plan, and I knew that it was important for me to repair my credit as much as I can, because I knew that I wanted to take this journey, and I knew that credit repair was going to be a big part of my future, and it has been to this day. So 2013, that was over 10 years ago. So I've been in the points, miles, and credit card space for over 10 years. I think nearly 15 by now. So that's how it first began.
Yeah, I think that is such a critical part of our journey. You mentioned something that really resonated with me in that you confessed, right? All of your mishaps pertaining to credit with creditors.
Yep.
But I think one of the most important confessions is the one that you have with yourself.
Yes.
Because I have been in that space, and the emotional component to acquiring debt generates so much shame. And I feel like it pushes us further and further away from a credit point journey and understanding how to utilize all of these tools as leverage. So, can you talk to me a little bit about how you feel, or if there's someone in the audience that is dealing with the shame of debt, what would your words be to them?
I have been there. When I got my student loans, the bills 6 months after graduating, I was an hourly worker. I would get them, I would look at the amount, and I would rip them up and throw them in the garbage because I didn't have the money to pay them. I defaulted on my student loans. I got all the collections in the mail, all the calls, and it did send me into a deep place of shame because I knew that my finances were not going to support me. And slowly it got better. And when I got to a place where it was really just having a mindset and a why. When I got to that place, it was not nearly as bad as I had made it out to be in my mind. They are so willing to work with you. I think they want to hear from you. And my resolve was to just throw the bills in the garbage. Communication will open many more doors than whatever internalized shame you have. Like, start communicating. Just call them. They will work with you no matter where you are.
I love that because I think you're so right. A lot of the times we do make things so much more worse in our minds. Like, we tell ourselves these ugly stories about who we are and what this makes us to be, when in reality, we're facing, I think, a crisis that not only most Americans are facing, but also our country as a whole has so much debt. Like, this is just the culture of America. So I think that your journey obviously has been so valuable to our community that is interested in understanding how to manage their money. Can you tell us the point where, I guess, there's this space that you feel the shame? I love the piece of just communicate and that they want to hear from you. And I think what I felt from you is that they're kind. We're not gonna get in trouble. They want to work with us. What is it like to then, I guess, transition us from using it as a weapon against ourselves to actually using credit as a tool? I know that's a loaded question, and it's like
love it.
10 years of your expertise in one question.
Yeah. No, I love this. And I love how you pointed out the stories we tell ourselves. When we don't have all of the information, we will fill in the gaps with our own imagination. And it's usually much, much worse than what is real. Yes, people are a lot more kinder and understanding than the story I told myself. Like, I really felt like I was confessing, like I said, but then it moved into communicating and then into working things out. Alongside with everything to do with finances, investing in credit cards, my other biggest passion in my life is travel. I wanted to see as much of the world as I possibly could. And when I realized I can use credit card points and miles to travel cheaply, that became my secondary motivation. I started to use credit cards for category bonuses, welcome offers, and using them for all of my expenses to earn points and miles that I then redeemed for what people call once-in-a-lifetime trips. I've had so many once-in-a-lifetime trips that my travel life has become extraordinarily rich. I have used points for family and friends. I have been literally around the world with points. And that was part of my motivation. Cleaning up my credit was kind of a byproduct of my desire to travel using the points. And then I realized, wow, my credit score is like 800. And then it unlocked more offers and better offers. And I didn't want to play the credit card game. And I had next to no financial literacy. And I had adopted the mindset that credit cards were generally bad. But then I sort of realized on my own, I'm going to use these as a tool for what I actually want to get. And then coming into adulthood, the first time I applied for a mortgage, I got a really great interest rate that I sort of calculated it. I realized I was going to save tens of thousands of dollars over the course of the loan. I went to get a car. This was, years ago before the everything that's currently happening with the interest rates. But I got a very great deal on my car, and I'm constantly getting offers for credit. And you hear this idea of good debt and bad debt, and the good debt has unlocked this whole new realm that I've entered into just this year of real estate investing. My credit continues to be good, and I continue to find new ways to leverage my good credit to unlock other pieces of my financial life and building my generational wealth. And I still use credit cards and points from where I began with, as a single guy traveling around the world, now to having a family and kids. My travel style has changed, but my credit has remained good. Just my strategy has changed. So really, credit cards and this desire to earn points was the jumping off point to the entire rest of my financial life.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to ask you, taking it back a little here, what were some of the most incredible places that you were able to travel to?
I had a feeling you might ask that. I was going through the list of places as I was driving to this morning. Japan. I've been to Japan 3 times, and what an amazing place. Iceland has been amazing. Chile, the mountains, the Andes, Easter Island, which is actually part of Chile, a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I've actually been to Easter Island twice. New Zealand, North and South Island, incredible. And then there are the sort of basic places, Hawaii, London, Paris. I love Budapest. There have been so many, all of Canada. It's also been such a great tool to keep in touch with family and friends across the country. There's something so empowering about saying, let's take a trip. We'll do it together with my points. I've been able to keep in touch with people or invite them on the trips I'm taking, and converted quite a lot of people along the way.
I'm sure. I mean, I think, my mind naturally just wants to separate the places where you've traveled, which sound incredible. Japan is on my list. It's my number one place that I want to go to. And I'm not equating the fact that you've taken these trips on the cost of living. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't pay anything for these trips. What paid these trips is the expenses that you would incur, whether you were utilizing points or not. And so I think it's important for us to just remind myself in particular, as you're saying this, that your expenses is what actually funded these trips, which does not make sense.
Yes, and it's It's easy for me to have a list, 10 to 15 years on. It didn't happen all at once. These are now like part of my lifetime memories, but they actually happened one by one. They were cumulative. Like I didn't take one trip and then another right behind it. I put my expenses on the card. I maybe opened a new one. I maximized the category bonuses. I kept track of promotional offers. And, it all adds up over time. And it's a very common thing for people to look at the price and say, oh, 100,000 points, I'll never get there. It's all cumulative, every like 1 mile at a time, 1 point at a time. But then once you come back from your first trip, you kind of won't believe it. And you'll see your balance is low again. And then you build it back up. And then you do it again and again and again. And I know it sounds overwhelming saying, I've been here and I've been there. This has been a long journey, and it's certainly not over, but it's cumulative. It didn't all happen at once. So it's important to not feel overwhelmed, but to have big goals. I would encourage anyone who wants to start collecting points and miles to have their dream trip in mind. Like, it is possible.
You mentioned something that I think is really critical. You said, that obviously this took time. You opened one credit card and then another credit card. For some folks that are potentially in debt, or maybe they just got out of debt. And I think one of the perhaps outdated rules that we think about when we think about credit cards is like cutting the credit card and never utilizing it again and staying far away from quote unquote bad credit. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to me about how many credit cards, if an amount is bad or good, or what we should aim for, or any direction when it comes to that?
So there's actually no upper limit. Something that's information you probably wouldn't get from a banker. I currently have nearly 40 active credit cards, 40. And yes, that sounds like a lot, but again, it's not like I woke up and had 40 credit cards in my wallet. It happened over time. I would say a good place, I started with one, and then I added another and another. So again, it's not like I went and opened 40 cards all at once. It's been a long journey.
Yeah,
I forgot where I was going.
No, well, 44 credit cards, I think I definitely, it makes me raise my eyebrows, like, wow, 44. Mm-hmm. And I think what a lot of people don't understand also is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this isn't necessarily my lane, but wouldn't the people that are looking at your credit, aren't they looking to see how much credit you have, I guess, available, that you're not necessarily utilizing to the max, but that you actually have entrusted almost to you? So I'm guessing your 44 cards, if I had to guess, and I'll probably be way off, but for sure way, like over $100,000 in line of credit. Am I off? Is it way more or?
It's closer to about 250,000.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So again, it wouldn't matter if you had 2 or 3 or if you had 50. Yes, a big component of your credit is the available credit to the credit you're actually using. Ideally, you would keep that under 30%. If you're an expert level, it would be closer to 10%. If you had one card with a $1,000 limit, I wouldn't put more than 100 on it. And then you just scale that up to 10,000 or 100,000. It's all about the proportions and the ratios. But the number one factor with all of your credit is your payment history. As long as you are paying on time, that is the number one factor to be entrusted with a higher credit limit or more credit, and just completely in general. And this encompasses the entire financial spectrum. Credit cards are also a revolving, unsecured, typically, account, and it adds to your credit mix.
What does that mean, credit mix?
Credit mix is your mortgage, your auto loan, any personal loans you have, and any other credit that you're entrusted with. They are another type of account, and having a variety of accounts shows that you can responsibly handle more financial tools or more types of credit products.
I see. So having the credit cards adds to that entrusted responsibility.
Yes. Yes. And I would say get a credit card as early as you can, because having one open adds to your length of credit history. So even if you get a card and put your any type of subscription on it and just auto pay it, it is adding to your average age of credit history. And I got my first credit card when I was 18. So my credit has a 24-year history now, which is awesome. Get yourself a no annual fee credit card, keep it open and use it responsibly. And this is where we get into the credit cards are tools. It is and the idea of the good debt and the bad debt. It is a tool. Yes, it can be a slippery slope. I feel like there are more ways to access financial information than ever before. Most people know now that a credit card doesn't mean you have free money. I think of my credit card as a debit card. I look at my bank balance. If I have it, that is my credit limit. Like, that is the end all be all. And then I make payments frequently. This is for a variety of reasons. Whenever the bank reports to the credit bureaus, I want to ensure that my credit utilization is low. I also want to check in frequently with my cards to make sure everything looks okay and that all of the charges are ones that I've made. And on this note, using credit is actually, it's more protected and more regulated than debit cards. And if you do have any sort of fraudulent activity or unauthorized purchases, you have much more recourse for getting that taken care of than if you use a debit card. And if you get rewards, when you use a debit card, you typically get nothing. Even if you're getting a 2% cashback card and you put everything on there and get 2% cash back, you're getting the consumer protections and you're doing better than probably 90% of people. Like, it is free money just for having the card. Get very clear with the mindset. I always recommend thinking of your credit card as a debit card.
Mm-hmm. I love that advice.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
How old will your children be when they have their first credit cards? Or I guess, like, you're allowed to authorize a user. Does that also count? And if that does count, when will you execute that for your children?
Ooh. I might open an account on the sly when they're 14 or 15 and start entrusting them with it late teens. But with authorized users, you have more controls now. So even if you do open an authorized user card, you can control the amount. And I would actually want my kids to have a card on them if they were in some sort of situation. I would want them to be able to make a payment and get out of it. I'm thinking something like calling roadside assistance. Like I would want them to be able to make that payment and to get out of that situation. So yes, probably as soon as I'm able, I'm going to get them on I'm not going to push it, but you can when you add an authorized user, you also sort of share your credit with them. So if someone has very poor credit, they inherit all of your good payment history, and it really can boost their score 20, 30, I've even seen over 100 points within a few months. And if you know it has to be someone you trust, because you could theoretically just open a card without their knowledge and keep it. But yes, I knew my brother was going to go car shopping. I opened up a credit card for him as an authorized user, waited a few months. His score went up about 100 points, and he got a very good rate on his car payment. I wanted to do that for him. So within your sphere of influence, you can share your good history.
Sure. I feel like that's life-changing, truly.
Yes.
I mean, the less debt you incur, the education that it teaches you on the importance of credit. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to take this conversation back a little bit. You mentioned something how, when you first started, traveling was your motivation. I feel like you hinted a little bit to potentially real estate now is more of a motivation. Can you talk to us about leveraging your points for that in terms of your credit, right? That's what you're utilizing it for.
Yeah. So having those big credit limits has been transformative. I have been able to buy a huge amount of materials to do a complete renovation. And yeah. So these renovations I've been doing, they cost between $20,000 and $40,000.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just process this. So obviously you've been taking care of the cards. That is giving you access to more money, which helps you purchase a property, but the renovation within that property, you're utilizing the points that you get from the card to renovate the house.
In some cases, yes. And I'm also earning more points and miles.
Right.
Yes. And yes, and I love saying yes and instead of yes, but. So when I use my credit to pay for these materials for these renovations between $20,000 and $40,000, I've gotten it to where I can do a complete renovation in about 6 weeks. So the typical grace period for a credit card is between 28 and 31 days. So as long as I'm going week by week and paying it off, I can sort of float a little bit of the expenses to a time that's more convenient for me. I know that I'm floating it and I have about a month to pay it back. And as long as I do, I never pay a dime of interest. And there are some months now where if I do carry the balance for a little bit and the billing cycle closes, my credit utilization will go up. But then as I pay it off, it goes back down again. And then what happens is now I have the points, I have a renovated house, and I've essentially converted my credit into equity. And the equity will then transform itself over time into appreciation. Meanwhile, I've got all the points and the renovation's done and I'm taking my next trip of a lifetime.
Wow. Harlan, you really have it all figured out. This is blowing my mind right now because I hadn't even considered that. And I mean, I guess if you're not in real estate and actually utilizing that, then you don't know. I remember there was a time when we would tell like inspiring stories of the one person that had to use the credit card to renovate the house. And it came across as like a sob story. And the whole time it's actually almost like a hack. That's incredible. Wow.
I stumbled onto this. I mean, I was kind of putting it all together. And I talked to a contractor and they were like, yeah, it's probably going to need about $40,000 worth of work. And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I have about $200,000 in available credit. That wouldn't even really nick my utilization ratio all that much. The Home Depot and Lowe's and even local hardware stores, they will definitely accept credit cards. The trick is finding a contractor that will either accept a card, which many of them do these days with Square and so many other payment processing platforms, Stripe. A lot of contractors still want cash in hand. Cash is still king with certain contractors, especially for lower amounts. So I would say still have enough cash on hand to pay certain contractors. And that's what I kept the bulk of my cash for, was paying the people that wanted to be, especially the day workers. They want cash at the end of the day. So being able to float those expenses in the background was a huge help on those days when my cash was low, but I still needed to buy more materials. Credit cards were the tool that kind of kept the project moving forward. And now I actually just went to the appraisal this morning. So I bought this house for way below market value, renovated it. I'm pretty sure the appraisal is going to come back pretty positive. And I mean, I did a lot of the work myself too. I pressure washed it myself. I did the landscaping. I did the painting in some of the rooms. So I was in there doing stuff too. But now it's rented out. I have a tenant who I think is lovely, and I'm confident that the rent payments are going to be fine. So now I have an asset. I have another cash flowing asset. So I have another modestly passive income stream. Everything's brand new, so I don't anticipate having too many issues. And it's an asset, and I can take that equity out. Now I can do a cash out refi, or I can get a HELOC, or I can get a DSCR loan. And those rates are all going to be the best rates that are available. So now I'm in the position of power where I have one asset that I can transfer now to another asset with the best rates. And for my journey, it's all coming. I mean, it's right where I began. It all comes down to using the credit cards as tools. And wow, have they been powerful.
Sure. So right now, during this climate, a lot of people are like, this isn't the time to buy a home. Interest rates are really high. And I'm all about a money mindset and what we need to internally shift to get us to make what some may feel that is extremely risky or not smart. How do you move through that process, or where's your perspective when you're purchasing a home with the interest rates that we have right now?
I joined a local real estate group, and that was exactly what I was seeking. When I began with credit cards, I had to have a mindset and a why. And I've shared my mindset was to get my credit repaired, and my why was that I wanted to travel. With real estate, I had to get that all over again. I was looking for a mindset, and I was looking for a why. And a lot of my reservations were things that within this community, they've heard over and over again. Just like with credit cards, there are these typical objections that you sort of hear as a refrain over and over. And with the current real estate environment, it is the interest rates and the economy, and home prices are either going up or they're going down, and insurance rates. And you can go over all of these variables. It all comes down to the numbers. Numbers never lie. Even with these interest rates, there are still deals out there where you can make it work. And the other thing is, there are always good deals out there. Thinking that you're going to run into trouble or that the interest rates are going to be too high to afford, it ultimately comes to a scarcity mindset and not operating from a place of abundance. The numbers still can work. There are always good deals out there. It has all been done before. And the motto in my real estate group I'm going to share with you is, Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. It's
I love that.
It's been true for decades. It's true now. It's going to be true. And it's the same with investing in the stock market. You hear all of these exact same objections, and I had them too. But once I was armed with a mindset and a why, I felt confident about jumping in. And now that I've done it, I have found ways to make it work for me. Start small. And again, it's all cumulative. You're not going to wake up and own 10 properties. You really have to just jump in, start small. If you like it, keep going. If you don't, have an exit plan. Move on to the next thing. But part of the mindset is moving away from scarcity and lack and moving into, yeah, I can do this. And there are good deals all the time.
Yes. We love that mindset, as you know. It's so important for us to have.
Oh, Hilton stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
The who's down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Now that we've spoken about the motivations and aspirations and what you can accomplish, can you talk to us a little bit about the darker side of credit in terms of a simple strategy that you can tell us here today on how to get out of debt? You're speaking to someone that I have no clue. I've heard things about snowball something. I have no idea what that means. Let's say that there's someone that has multiple credit cards. They're in debt. They also have student loans. How would they take on this situation? What are some first steps that you would recommend someone take?
If you are in collections with any creditors, first, you can access your credit reports for absolutely free. Annualcreditreport.com is a federal website where you can freely and securely access your credit. It is a right that everyone has. You are allowed to know what is on your credit report. Pull your credit report from all three bureaus. The main three bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And you don't need to remember those because when you go to the website, it'll all be there for you. Find out if anything is in collections. If it is, call those creditors first. The number is always displayed. If it's old, they'll probably be willing to settle with you for literal pennies on the dollar. If you owe $500, say, I can pay $100 to get this removed from my credit. Get everything in writing, take notes, say, on this day at this time, I called this creditor and spoke with this person. Write notes for everything and get everything in writing. And then follow up. Make sure that the mark was actually removed. Now, if you don't have any, excellent. You're doing great. Even if your credit doesn't look good, quote unquote, if you're not in collections, you're actually doing much better than you think you are. It's very common to carry balances and to pay interest. In this case, the cause is the cure, meaning you might want to open a balance transfer credit card. And if you're already in credit card debt, you're probably going to think, I don't want to open another card. But if you can, if your credit will bear it, you can roll your balances onto another card and stop the interest for periods ranging from 12 to 21 months. 12 months is a year. A lot can change in a year. And if you can get longer, then you have even longer. See what you can do with your employment. Can you pick up a side hustle? I hate the idea of a side hustle and recommending it, but I've done it. Even better, ask for a raise at your current job. Potentially even better, make a lateral career move, start applying. It's all a bit holistic because you're like, okay, now I need to make these payments. So how do I get more money? And then you start thinking about that. And as you start thinking of these things, not to be too woo-woo, but all the answers you start to attract them. And once you talk with one creditor and make a payment plan, and then you see the mark removed and you see your score respond, you start to think, wow, like this is actually working. And with regard to the snowball and the avalanche, those are common ways of just sort of lining them up and knocking them out. I wouldn't recommend one over the other. I would recommend going with what makes you feel better, because money is mostly psychological. So to get out of debt, go with what's going to make you feel best. I would definitely start with any store-branded credit cards if you have any, because those typically have the highest interest rates. And then just move down the line. Write them down, either with pen and paper. I love spreadsheets. And with student loans. Man, this has been a contentious topic for what seems like a really long time. I still have student loans as well. You can either switch the plan you're on. So I was on the SAVE plan, which I really liked. You can switch to an income-based plan. You can, again, call them, communicate what you can afford. I have found most student loan providers to be really responsive and if you say, look, I can afford this, they're going to take whatever they can. They would much rather have something than nothing. So again, communicate. Also, when you communicate, it sends powerful signals to your subconscious and your unconscious. If you say, I can afford this amount, all of a sudden you have spoken it, and it is so. and you will. Once you start moving toward a goal, the universe has a really powerful way of making it happen for you. But you have to take those first steps, start taking action, and the rest sort of unfolds. As for the dark side of credit, there's a dark side of every financial tool. There's a dark side of real estate. The market can drop and you could sell at a loss. That's dark. With credit cards, you can get behind on your payments and go to collections. That's pretty dark. Yes, I mean, and also, bleep happens. Life happens.
You can cuss here. It's okay. We don't mind.
I mean, I've had life happen to me. I've had to carry a balance. I've missed a payment or two just because, like, whatever.
40 credit cards.
Absolutely. And again, going back to the spreadsheets, yeah. I live and die by the spreadsheet. But yeah, there's hardly anything so bad that you can't work out a solution. Communicate. And yeah, like the dark side can happen with every scenario. If you start talking about credit cards, people rush to tell you their horror stories. Same with real estate. They're in a hurry to tell you about all the things that can go wrong. I like to focus on all the things that can go right.
I love it. We love that kind of attitude around here. And also, I just want to add to this conversation that while it may sound woohooey, there's actually a part of the brain called the reticular activating system that filters information for us and decides what information we should receive based on what we focus on. So if we are focused on the inability to pay bills, the RAS will filter in proof that you can't pay the bill. But if you focus on the opportunities that can potentially arise, then the RAS will focus on all of the opportunities that exist that you weren't able to see before because you were too busy worried about the negative side.
Yes, it is science-backed that what you resist persists, and you start to create your own confirmation bias within the world you've created. I would like to share with you what I started doing this month. I started a notes file or folder called Noticing the Good, where at the end of the day, I just, in quick bullet format, I list all the things that went right that day, or all of the things that I was grateful for. Anything, it could be the leaves were beautiful. I talked with an old friend. I liked my sandwich, whatever, anything. You're training yourself to notice the good things that happen to you. And if you're on a credit repair journey, those things could look like, I had a positive conversation with the customer service representative. I worked out a payment plan. I completed my payments. I tracked my credit score and it went up. I know that I got a better rate because my credit is good. And again, you're creating your own confirmation bias toward more good things happening to you.
I love it. We're going to leave it at that. And I think call is the cure is very important. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today. Please let us know where our community can find you. If you have anything coming up that, share what you do, share all the things.
All right. I've had a blog since about 2013 called Out and Out. It's on the Boarding Area Network, and the web address is outandout.boardingarea.com. And most of my social media is under my name, which is Harlan Vaughn. So you can find me on X, Insta, pretty much anywhere else that an account can be had. Threads, Blue Sky, it's all the same, Harlan Vaughn. Coming up, I am mostly doing some real estate projects, and I look forward to sharing those. So I just started real estate in 2025. I'm new. Yeah, I just got my
this year.
Just this year. So I look forward to sharing more. I'm still a bit of a newbie, but within this new realm, I'm still using everything that came before. Like, I'm still using all my credit cards and my points knowledge, and I'm thinking of ways to spin it in my favor. Yeah, so follow me as I share my new mindset and my new whys, and I would also encourage you to do the same. Take everything you know that's worked for you and use it. like it's all there for you.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today, Harlan. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
You are one of my favorite people on this planet. And when I heard of this opportunity, it was always a big hell yeah. Thank you for having me.
I feel the same way about you, Harlan. Thank you.
Thank you too, Linda.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Investies. If you are a member of our Patreon community, head over to Patreon, search Harlan Vaughn over on our Patreon page, where you can access one of his incredible workshops that he presented to our community a couple of years ago that is still very much prevalent today. I highly recommend it. It was a Patreon favorite. Investies podcast is a Cosmic Standard production. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. Very special thank you to the team, Asia Simpson, Eliza Smith, and Jacob Winnick.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds low after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.